what is up, you heathens and demons, you beautiful, blasphemous people? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and today we have Godless Galaxy with us, and we are going to talk being 16 and being a Satanist. And you guys haven't seen Godless in a minute because we found out he was 16, and the open room kind of voted to wait till he was 17 to let him back in. But I figured I'm going to do some one-on-ones with him until that happens, and we can have one-on-one conversations about being a very young, smart man that has held his own in adult conversations, but also being a Satanist. It's not often you get a chance to somebody that at least takes that label and is proud of that label, and then you guys will soon find out what type of Satanist he is. But what's up, Godless Galaxy?
Hey, man.
Please let me know in the chat if you guys hear Godless. You should, but as
Yeah.
always, Zoom is a work in progress with me. But yeah, welcome, Godless. So my chat room kind of voted against you and didn't want you to come in the open rooms. And then I just decided to do one-on-ones with you because I like having you on the channel, and I think you're smart as shit, and you're only 16. Like, we were all shocked. Like, when you first told us you was under 18, I think me and John both assumed you had to be 17 because you're just so damn smart. And then I found out you was 16, and it just really kind of blew my mind. So just go ahead and introduce yourself to the channel and kind of talk like are you like the smartest kid in your school?
Nah. I don't know. But this summer I've been reading a lot, and I just read and I just do a lot of research about stuff. So I know a good amount of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely seem to be informed. You've come into every open room. I mean, at first you was a little quiet, and then you kind of warmed up and got comfortable. But every time that you've spoken, you've gotten right into the conversation and held your own. I think that's what made all of us a little bit surprised at just how young you were, because we were like, no way he's that young. I think I probably thought you was like a graduate student or something. I can't quite remember, but I'm fairly certain that that's what I thought. So, yeah, it kind of blew my mind that you're so young and just able to hold your own in these conversations. I think that speaks to a lot. So as pretty much everybody in the chat has probably figured out, you're what type of Satanist are you?
Um, well, I kind of I want to say redefine myself a little bit since last time I talked about it.
Oh
But
yeah,
I'm a
like
little bit.
yeah, whatever you are, let us know.
So there's two main Satanist, like modern Satanist groups, Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple. And I'm kind of I like the Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple, which they're both secular, really, mostly. So I take some parts from both sides and some not.
All right, um, so do you actually believe in Satan himself? Is he like your god, or not?
No,
No.
no.
All right, so it's more along the lines of LaVey Satanism. It's a political leaning, and it's like political activism. But do you still like believe in any of the religious aspects at all to
Mm,
Satanism? To Satanism?
no. I used to believe English magic, but then I'm like, not really. That's kind of stupid. So not doing that anymore.
All right, so Atheist Rationale is asking, how does he feel about Anton LaVey? So how do you feel about LaVey?
I think he was probably he spoke out against Christianity in the 1960s. I think he was clever in his ways of thinking, and he was kind of direct to the point and didn't care what about others, what they said about him.
All right, yeah, see, I'm still learning a little bit, but I definitely like a lot of the political activism that Satanist groups do. So the political Satanist, I've actually worked with them quite a bit, side by side as a progressive. I've done. There was a site here in Michigan that had the Ten Commandments on public ground, and I worked with a Satanist group, and we actually got that monument taken off of public ground. So I've actually worked with them a lot. I know quite a few, and I'm friends with quite a few. So do you get into the political activism part of it?
I definitely support the activism. But there isn't that much activism like around where I live that I
Mm-hmm.
can go to. So, but I support it and stuff.
All right.
Like,
So yeah, I mean it is pretty much regional. Like I know they travel the country and they go from public ground to public ground with their what's I can't remember the demon's name. It's the one with the goat head. But they go around with that statue, trying to get the statue up. And eventually, what it does is it gets the Christian monuments taken out.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. We do have Sky out and Standing for Truth hasn't been here in a while. Welcome back, Standing for
Oh,
Truth. So yeah, we do have some people watching. So, just kind of inform. How is it like? How what I really want to ask is like school. So like, I already asked if you was like the smartest kid in your school, and I was only kind of being funny. Like I think that you're probably being a little modest, and that you must be because I have a very low opinion of most young people, and it's not so much that it's because they're young. It's just because I'm old, and I think you got to live life to really know shit. But you seem to really know your stuff. But how do other people do other people in your class know that you identify as a Satanist, and how do they react when they find out?
about certain people that I'm a Satanist. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. I just don't want like the cliche or the trope of it to go around my school and
Yeah.
tell me that.
So you definitely feel pressure, like you feel like you would definitely be discriminated against if people found out that you're a Satanist, and then like even if you explained like, oh, I don't believe in Satan, I'm not that kind of a Satanist. This is what I believe, but they would still probably look down on you and not see you the same. Is that kind of how you feel?
Yes, like people who are close to me would understand and they wouldn't really care. But I think the outskirts or the people I'm not involved with will definitely think otherwise. So I'm kind of quiet about it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't blame you, and that's definitely the advice that I give to young atheists, especially that it's not really safe. Keep yourself safe. Wait till you're an adult and you're living on your own, and you can create. You can surround yourself with people that you actually have a choice to surround yourself, and you're not in a situation to where you really have no choice who you're surrounded by. I would definitely advise that. Pretty much in all situations when it comes to like paganism, Satanism, or atheism, agnosticism, you can face certain pressures, and I was kind of maybe a little naively hoping that school and peer pressure had changed from when I was a teenager, but it kind of sounds like it's still the same. Like you're definitely worried that people will, just suddenly start seeing you differently if they actually knew the truth about who you were. And that's what we fight against in this movement. That's one of my main things is, you shouldn't have to do that. I don't think that, you should be able to be who you are and just be accepted by everybody. But you can't do that because we live in the world we live. I have people coming
Yeah.
in.
Um. Yeah. So you were talking about like you were like for like the what is the not philosophy, like the people going around with the statue of
Mm-hmm.
Satan and stuff. That's mostly done by the Satanic Temple, which is way more active than the Church of Satan.
Yeah. Yeah. I just always I've always just called him like the political Satanist. So
Yeah.
I never really knew the terminology. Like, the group that I worked with, I actually still work with them occasionally. In fact, when I go to Detroit, here in about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing political work up there. Two of the people I'm going to be working with were from that group. I don't know if they're still part of it, but 4 years ago when this happened, they were definitely in that group. I'm actually excited to see them again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But so,
But
how do your parents feel about it?
my parents don't necessarily care that I'm a Satanist. They want me. They don't really care exactly about it.
But they
They
do
just
know.
they do know. Yes.
Are they religious?
Not really. They're Christians though, but
But not
they're
like
not that religious.
not crazy Christians.
They're not. They're not. They're not
That's
like
that's pretty cool that
crazy.
you
They're
don't
just
have that pressure at
nice.
home that you have to worry about. I definitely had that pressure when I first came out as an atheist. Um, I was like 22 years old. Um, I just got I just got back home to my dad's, and I couldn't tell him, and then I moved to Michigan, and slowly, I think it took me about 8 to 10 years to come out to everybody. After I became an atheist, to actually, I think I told my mom, and that was it. Everybody else, I didn't tell nobody. I just kept my shit to myself. I think a lot of them figured it out, but I didn't tell anybody. And then when I did come out and start talking about it, people were like, "Yeah, we're not surprised." But so, how do you do any form of worship, or is it just the labels? So, do you have any rituals? Do you have anything that you do? I'm interested.
All right. So in the Satanic Temple, there's no rituals. It's just mostly activism and like charity work. That's what they mostly do. Um, in the Church of Satan, they do have rituals for multiple different things, like charms and curses.
All right. So, but do you do any of it?
No,
All right, I do
I was
have a
thinking
question.
a curse on someone or a charm
Oh,
actually, but then
you try to put a curse on somebody?
I tried. I didn't like fully go through it. I was like, I don't really have the stuff, and I don't really feel like doing it now in my room. Like, it's kind of not. It involves candles and
Yeah, like I knew a couple Wiccans that would
keeping some.
curse
I don't think
people.
anyone else wants to do this.
And it was kind of interesting. I actually watched once. I don't think they were cursing somebody, but I watched a couple ceremonies with an ex girlfriend, and it was fascinating. And I was an atheist at the time, but I'm still just fascinated about it. Like I'd really love to go and see like a pagan ritual ceremony. Like I wouldn't want to be participating in it, just sitting back and just checking everything out. I get
Yeah.
interested in shit like that. I do have a question. I just kind of picked it up. Standing for Truth is back here. Standing for Truth. I would probably. I don't know why I went there. I would probably be interested in having a conversation with you about the NIFB because I hear you're NIFB. If you're interested in that conversation, there will be a moderator, so I can't, curse you out and kick you out. But if you're interested in that conversation, let me know. But I've heard that you're NIFB, and I would like to talk about that.
Mm.
All right, so shit, I'm like already almost out of questions. I got to improvise, and it's getting dark. I should have turned my light on. But how do you let me see let me see it. So I know you don't really follow Satan, but how do you look upon the character of Satan in a biblical sense? Like is how do you see the image of Satan?
So I see him as kind of like the good guy because I see him as the good guy in the Bible because like he's not really in the Bible that much. So it's kind of hard to describe him because he's barely mentioned until like the only in the first book and like the last books really. But there's the thing with Job, but
Yeah, like I don't really remember him too much in the Old Testament. Like I know like people try to refer to the snake as Satan, but it doesn't say Satan. So most of what I've read about Satan, and I have some really weird ideas about what Satan is, it comes from the New Testament, and there's one particular passage where it's describing the image of Satan, and the description is literally, this is what it says, King James Version. It says, as fast as lightning. That's the description of Satan. That's the only description I've ever found of Satan in the Bible, as fast as lightning. But I have found other things that kind of refer to Satan as maybe some form of alien creature. Specifically, when Satan takes Jesus, he I think he finds him in the desert and whisks him away to the temple, and it's literally within a moment of time. And then he takes Jesus from the temple, where he tempts him to jump off, and Jesus doesn't do it. He takes Jesus from that temple, and in a moment of time, takes him across Israel to this mountain where Jesus beholds, every kingdom in a moment of time. So, I mean, if you really go through it, Satan, like if you're paying attention when you're reading it, Satan isn't in the Bible what I thought he was growing up. But that's my fucked up interpretation. I do truly understand that. But it literally says that, like, the description of Satan is fast as lightning. I actually wrote a paper on that.
Intriguing.
I have really weird ideas. Like I literally, like, I truly believe that if angels are real, they have to be aliens. I think that if God is real, he had to be an alien. It's the only logical explanation for it. And so that's just what I think. I don't think that any of them is real. I don't, I'm right along the lines with Dr. Josh. I don't think that we have any evidence that aliens have ever visited this planet. I think all the evidence shows that our universe is dead, that we are the only life in our galaxy, at least. I just finished a script about the Fermi paradox, where I'm going to be talking about all of that. So it's like, but, if they did exist, the only logical explanation to me is that they're fucking aliens.
Yeah.
But I go off on tangents. So, so I don't know. Just talk about yourself, Godless, because I don't get a chance to have you on here too much anymore. And Godless did inform me that he's gonna be 17 in just a couple months, so it's not gonna be too much longer, and he's gonna be able to come back on. Nobody said that they wanted him to wait till he was 18. I think 17 years old is a reasonable age. I think we can allow him back on when he's 17. So, just tell us about yourself. Like, what are you getting into? What do you find fun? What is, it's been a long time since I've been a 16-year-old. So I'm kind of interested in just how maybe society is for you. Like, what problems do you face in society?
In society in general.
Well, just in life, like how is life for a 16-year-old in 2019?
In 2019, it's intriguing because we have, like, with the LGBTQ community and their, like, activism for opening up, and then there's still the old idea of they're just sinners or whatever, and I kind of, like, I want to say I see it play out at school or in society, really, but I see I hear the opinions, and I see what exactly happened. It's like some opinions I've heard from people is a little bit crazy even for me.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking at some stuff that's going on in chat. Yeah, I'm very interested in that. Like, so do you? When I was a kid, we faced social pressures to do drugs. Drugs was everywhere when I was 16 years old. I was selling drugs by the time I was your age. Is that a problem for you?
Well, I don't have peer pressure for drugs, but there's definitely drugs in my school. So there's I think society, even in the past, like, the pressures for drugs is still around. It's just a different kind of drug now.
Yeah. So what kinds of drugs are around. Because, like, like, I don't know any of the new shit. So, like, what's in your school being pushed right now? Without, you
Um,
don't have to snitch nobody out.
I think so. It's mostly dueling and pods being passed around and stuff. That is the biggest thing, really.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Small stuff is like weed and dueling, vaping. That's
Never even heard of it, I don't think. I'm
Juul.
way too old.
It's like cigarettes, but it's like
Oh, like the Juul cigarettes?
yes. I don't know if I pronounced that right,
So
but
is that like a drug, or is that just like nicotine? Or do they do
it's
something to
just
it to make them get high?
I call it a drug, even though it's just
Oh,
nicotine.
okay.
I'm like, it's,
All right. So no, yeah, I totally agree. And I have noticed like a lot of young people doing the vape shit, and to me, the vape stuff is kind of stupid. Like I smoke and it's gonna kill me, but I've seen so many pictures of vape machines blowing up in people's faces. I'm just like, you're just asking for it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on in chat, but let's not time out people unless they are being derogatory language and slurs. I'm not sure what's really going on. I know Stupid Horror Energy is a huge supporter. Broken God, I'm not so sure about, but Stupid Horror Energy, I definitely don't like seeing her get timed out. So I'm not sure what's going on. Let's just try to let people speak and only get rid of some derogatory comments. So yeah, I'm. This is a fascinating discussion for me because it's just not very often that I get to speak to younger people and especially people that identify as a Satanist. Do you think that you'll be a Satanist forever, and do you see yourself getting more active and involved in like the political side of it as you get older? And I'm gonna go turn on a light. I'll be right back. But go ahead and answer.
All right. Um, most likely I'll grow up and still be a Satanist because it's not much. There isn't much I had to do. It's more of like a philosophy for me. And activism, I probably most likely will get into that because I live in Indiana. Um, Mike Pence was here, so that's
Yeah.
there's there's some stuff I'm keeping up with. I'm watching like there's like a thing on if what is it American Atheist, I think, website. They have like a thing where you can track bills that are religious or discriminative, and I'm like, I kind of watch that.
Yeah, I am deeply into that, and I try to stay away from politics on my channel, but I do think I'm going to start covering politics on a religious basis. I know I've talked about a couple things, and people try to call me on bullshit, and it's because they don't understand what the fuck's going on. I talked about the Johnson Amendment, and people were telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm like, you guys obviously don't know anything about anything, because as of right now, you can push political candidates from behind the pulpit. Trump signed an executive order. The Johnson Amendment is still in effect, but the executive order changed it, and now pastors don't have to worry about repercussions, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. I literally passed a fucking church yesterday that was promoting a Republican candidate. So I mean, they can do whatever the fuck they want now, and it's atrocious. But we're going to get into that on the Raging
Yeah.
Atheist. Sooner or later, I'm going to be talking about the Johnson Amendment and what Trump has done. So maybe all of these right-wing atheists that voted for Trump can start understanding that he's not on your side.
I think there was like one bill. I think it was called Bill 313 in Indiana in the Senate. It was basically saying they will have like the what was it? It said like under God, like just like that, like the pledge, like under God, would be posted. I keep hearing a lot of notifications.
Yeah,
Um,
my phone is blowing up. It waits until I go live, and like you'd think by now I would just turn it off before I go live. It's off now.
uh,
All right.
but the bill but the bill's like under God, and then there was some other stuff they had on there, but it would be under God in every classroom in every school, like public schools. And I'm like, I don't think that's legal. And then the bill got knocked down. Like everything was just stripped away from it, except like get credits for like religious, like get a religious credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think
Still got
people.
destroyed.
So have you seen the effects in your school of Betsy DeVos? Like in particular, like has your school experience changed since Betsy DeVos became the head of education?
Not real. No, I don't think so.
So it
I
hasn't.
haven't.
I keep waiting because I mean she completely fucked up the Michigan educational system. She herself personally fucked up our educational system here. So I've been kind of wondering if she would actually have enough power to do that on a national level. And from what you're saying so far, you haven't seen much of a change.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything really.
All right, so yeah, I'll definitely do that. And yeah, I'm not really paying too much attention to the chat. So I'm I don't really want to be a a moderator policeman. So I'm really hoping that mods will just be chill. Just be chill. If I do have to examine maybe cutting down on mods, I will. But I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to, look, I just want people to be able to speak, and especially supporters of the channel. Definitely, I want them to be able to speak, but I don't want to really have to go through. Like I do go through and look at the conversation, so I will look at stuff, but I don't want to be sitting here telling subscribers that they're shitty for doing this. What I just really want you guys to do is let people speak. I have thought about maybe cutting down on mods a lot, just to kind of have more control over it. But just let people speak. If they're calling names, if they're saying the N word or saying bad stuff about gay people, time them out. Warn them and time them out. But I really just want people to be able to speak. But all right, back to our conversation. It's really hard. Like I can pay attention to the chat. Now, especially when I have moderators now, it's a lot easier to pay attention to the chat. But it's really hard to do it when I'm running a show by myself, or trying to have a conversation with just one person, because it takes me away from the conversation. I'm losing the questions that I have. So I really don't even, just right now, I just don't really want to look at the chat too much. So just be chill in the chat. I know Native and AR are both longtime supporters. So I'll go back and look at it, but I'm not going to come down on anybody. I just might eventually decide that I need less moderators, but we'll get there. All right. I can't breathe. Like I got my AC off, and it's so humid. You just can't breathe in Michigan. It's been like this for like a week. You said you're in Indiana?
Yeah.
So you still live in Indiana? So is it better now that Mike Pence is gone?
I think so. Like I didn't know exactly the effects he had because I didn't really pay attention.
He was one of
But
the most atrocious governors in the country. Like I've fucking hated that dude for like 10 years now.
But yeah, I was like looking into some of the things. My friend, she keeps telling me this political stuff, and I'm like, okay, let me just see what he's done or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of bad. Like, why is he allowed to do this? And
Yeah, well, he's definitely a
there's
fundamental
a thing,
Christian.
Mike Pence, and like teaching evolution in school.
Yeah,
Yes.
like he tried to get conversion therapy passed in your state, and I think he was knocked. I think it was his own Republican House legislature that denied him that. If I'm thinking of the story correctly, I've been covering Mike Pence for a long time. Mike Pence was probably the first political atheism videos I ever did on my old channel, and it was just Mike Pence, Mike Pence, Mike Pence, and then he became vice president, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna be doing Mike Pence for the rest of my life. But as a vice president, he's really just been kind of bitch made. He hasn't really done much as VP. I was scared when he became VP, and all he does really is stroke Donald Trump's ego. He did get the Johnson Amendment fucked up though, and that was his main goal. So he did accomplish that.
I think I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure conversion therapy is still legal in Indiana.
Is it? Did it actually get legal in Indiana? I
I'm
didn't think
pretty
it
sure.
did.
I think it's legal because my friends are kind of scared of it, really, because they're part of the community, which I understand.
So I'm gonna have to look into that, and if it is, I'm gonna have to make a video just trashing it because I didn't think that he was able to get it passed, but maybe it got passed after him. Because I know a lot of Mike Pence legislation didn't get passed until after he left and became vice president. So it was almost like they were waiting for the douchebag to leave, and then they just passed all of his douchebag legislation. So maybe that was one of those things. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, if they definitely have legalized conversion therapy, then I am going to go hard at Indiana. God damn it. Damn it, Godless Galaxy, you just ruined my night. Now I'm going to be doing research until 2. Oh, that's
Uh,
funny. That's funny.
yeah.
None of my signings working. I'm not sure what you're saying, Ann Kennedy. Ann Kennedy's another huge supporter of the show. Always love it when she's here. Um, yeah. How do you feel about the guys not wanting you into the open room? So would you think? Would your parents have a problem with me having you in open rooms?
Um, they don't really care necessarily. Like, they don't want me to be completely doing it all the time, which I understand. So I like, I kind of like, I wouldn't mind joining, but I'm not really like upspoken about some things, especially when you guys go off topic. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
which
just
is
here.
bad on my channel. Like I go on tangents, but yeah, well, sometimes you're really quiet, but then sometimes you do participate a lot, and I think that's like, I don't. A lot of times we don't really know. I should be more structured going into them and have topics and be kind of somewhat prepared for an organized discussion. But so far, it's been all chaos, and these are improvements that I'm going to make. Like I'm getting the moderators, and I will be probably having more topic oriented open rooms in the future, and that way I can try to invite specific people to talk about specific things. You know, like my goal is to kind of have a revolving door to where anybody that wants to come in can talk, but then you can come in and know you're going to be talking about something that you know about and feel comfortable talking about. I think that not just with you, but with a lot of people, they get into the open room hoping that it'll be a topic that they can talk about, and it ends up being a lot of topics that they don't want to talk about, so they end up being quiet. So I think that I'm going to try to get more organized with it. But yeah, it sounds like you're not too mad that you haven't been able to come in. But I felt bad about it. Because for one, when you do participate, you participate very well. You are involved. So like to me, it was more like you're not Guzman. You're not 12. You're 16 years old. If your parents doesn't have a problem with it, I don't think that I should. But I do understand other people having I don't know. I've been kind of back and forth on it because I feel like shit, especially like if you ask me to come on and then we gotta be like, no, dude, I can't do it. I feel bad.
It's fine. I don't really care if I come in the chat in the open
Yeah, well, they are going to get a lot more
rooms, really, but
topic
yeah.
oriented and not be so chaotic. My goal is for them not to be so chaotic. I want it to be a clean, smooth stream where you're going to come and get some good conversations and occasional dumpster fires, but they're going to be moderated, and we're not like last night was just obnoxious how everybody was talking over everybody. It was just obnoxious. Like
Yeah.
8 people talking at the
But
same time is blowing out people's eardrums. Stop it.
oh yeah. Um
Yeah, I don't know. I ran out of questions. I thought that I would have more questions, but you're just so chill and you're like, oh, yep. It's you remind me a lot of me in my 20s because I was not chill when I was 16. I was kind of a pumped up. I didn't do steroids, but I kind of acted like I was on roids or some shit. Like I was just very intense, and I was an athlete, and like adrenaline pumping through me 24/7, constantly working out. But when I was 22 years old, I was like the most chill motherfucker, and you're like the most chill 16-year-old I think I've ever met. The 16-year-olds I know, they're like fucking jacked up ADD. You're chill. Um, do you do you play any sports or do any after school activities or anything like that? Like, are you have you ever like? I was big into debate clubs. I would think that you'd probably be pretty good at debate. Do you do anything like that?
Um, I don't do debate clubs, but I mostly I play soccer, which is real fun for me.
Yeah, my
Um,
daughter wants to start playing soccer. Uh,
it's fun.
it's the one sport I don't know well enough to teach her. But that's what she wants to do
Uh,
is play soccer.
but yeah, I I mean I might look into a debate club, which I mean if it's like soccer season kind of starts beginning of beginning of school, so it's kind of hard to join a club and then
Hmm.
stay in that with after school practices.
So do you work? Cause like I don't know. I kind of got the gist from some of your emails. Like you're not available sometimes. Like maybe you working, and I'm like, man, when I was 16, I don't think I was working. Do you work?
No, I don't. I don't really work. I'm kind of I'm very busy because of family issues, and I
Oh.
kind of don't know my schedule. Like it's very all right. We're doing this like right now, and so I was kind of like sketchy for
Hmm.
this. Is like hopefully my parents don't ask me to do anything right
Yeah.
before this, and so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna cook dinner like an hour
That's
before
funny.
whatever. We're done. I'm good. That
That's funny
yeah.
because I was thinking like, man, if he's working, he's got to be probably like one of the few. Like, do many 16-year-olds work? Like, all right. So do your 16-year-old friends actually work jobs? Because I can't remember. I don't
Mm,
think I worked when I was 16. I think I was 17 when I started working.
I mean, there's like part-time jobs like soccer refereeing, which is like based on the season. I wouldn't call that. I did that for like 2 seasons, and I didn't really call that a job. I just called it like me spending my morning watching little kids play soccer.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but
if you like playing soccer, that can't be too bad for you. I know one atheist, one witch has a
I stopped
question.
refing because I just felt like, all right,
Oh, well, you can go ahead and finish. You stopped refing because of why?
um, like I knew the rules, but I was like kind of sketchy. Like
Oh yeah,
it was
yeah,
like oh, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I don't know if I should call this or I shouldn't. It was like I would say anxiety, but it's like the pressure from the parents and making sure I made the right call. It's like, nah, I'm not doing this.
yeah. All right, so we got a couple questions from the chat. I'm gonna answer one of them. KC atheist Randy, is he satanic temple Satanist? He said that he's kind of both, but definitely doesn't worship Satan. But definitely has little aspects of both. And one atheist, one which asks, is Satanism central to how you live your life, or is it just like an aspect of it?
It's an aspect. Like if I think about it, then I can apply it to things. Like I think, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I did correlates to what my like Satanism talks about. I was like, I don't really think about it. It's not part of my daily life, but I think about it every so often.
All right, so it's not like something that you just that's an everyday practice for you. Ann Kennedy says, ask him what he's like. What would you like people to understand correctly about your beliefs and your form of Satanism? Like, what is the most common misconception? What is most commonly misinterpreted about Satanism?
I don't know really because I haven't like talked with it with many people, but I believe I don't entirely believe to the cliche of like, oh, you worship Satan. I don't think that's don't think everyone thinks like that. I think some people, but not all people, think like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would think definitely like if you was open about it, um, now without
Yes.
spending the time to get to know fellow people of similar mind, that right now you would probably face a lot of pushback, if not outright discrimination, just because just from people's ignorance and just those old connotations. Oh, so you're sacrificing goats at midnight or some shit, you know?
Yeah, that's something I've heard before actually.
Yeah, well,
Even,
down in North Carolina, I actually had a group of Satanists when I was a kid get
even
caught
like
doing that,
not
but it
like
was
talking
just
about
teenagers
Satanism.
being stupid. Like I don't even think they were really Satanists; they were just being stupid and doing Satan shit. But that's like the connotations I would think most Christians would probably have. Oh, you're a Satanist. I've often spoke. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten comments from Christians saying, "Oh, you're an atheist, so you eat the brains of babies," and it's like the stereotype, and they fit right into it. I mean, exact words and everything. And I'm like, you don't really think we eat brains of babies? And they really do. They really fucking do. And I'm like, you were the dumbest person
Yeah,
I've ever fucking met. But I would assume it's probably would be similar for you once you really came out and told, hey, everybody, I'm a Satanist. Then they probably had those same conjurations in their mind. Oh, you're killing, you're sacrificing stuff to Satan.
yeah. Just like telling, like being open about being an atheist. People even told me like cliches or whatever about being a Satanist. Really, like saying, "Oh, you like kill goats or whatever goats," and I'm like, "No, that's Satanism. Not even like secular Satanism. That's like legit, but no one does that. No one
Mm.
really does that."
Yeah, I mean, I would think that those people are so rare. Like for one, if they were out just sacrificing animals and shit, like they get caught. Like people would notice that their animals are
Yes.
missing. Like so eventually that you would hear about it on the news, and occasionally you do. But I would have to imagine that those real like Satanists that think they're doing black magic and sacrificing to the devil are few and far between, and most of them probably end up in prison because they're sacrificing shit to the devil. you know. So yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think most of them are going to be more like you. They're going to be more of your LaVey type Satanists, politically motivated. It's more about a label. Like people call me an agnostic all the time. I don't think I am. I think I'm an atheist. But call me agnostic. Call me what you want. It doesn't matter. What matters is how I label myself and how I see myself. So everybody else can eat a dick. That's just how I've always kind of went about my life. And but I do
Yeah.
know that I'm kind of unique because I've never really cared about what anybody has thought about me. It's actually done a lot of harm in my life. You should care about what people think about you if you want to succeed in life. I know the atheist rationale has a question for you. He says, if you can debate anyone here on YouTube, who would it be, and what would the subject be?
Oh, well, that's a tough question. I don't know who I would debate really. I mean, there's a very big range,
Mm.
but I wouldn't mind doing another round of Standing for Truth. I've already debated him before, and I think I've learned what to do now because his script. I think he was new and no one knew him,
All
and
right. Yeah, yeah. So he was probably
so I was like, "All right, I'm
a
just
little
gonna
new
debate
to
him."
it.
And his script was like something I couldn't. Yeah, so I can. But now I'm prepared, and so I'm like, I could debate you. I don't say I could take down anyone, but I think there's if I have like if I did Matt Powell, I would love to debate Matt Powell. That would be epic.
Yeah, that's probably the person that I get people asking me to set up debates with the most is Matt Powell, and I'm like, for one, at this point, if you think Matt Powell's gonna do anything for me, like he still, I think, he still tries to be my friend. It's been a while now since I've gotten a text from him. The last text was him telling me that he was not the one to put a strike on my channel, but yeah, he's probably the one that everybody's like, "Hey, Nakasuchi, can you get me a debate with Matt Powell?" And I'm like, probably not, probably not. but he's the one that everybody wants to debate. The thing about Matt is you just kind of like my advice to anybody if they go into a conversation with Matt Powell is to be rude. Be rude. Don't give him a minute to get into his little spiel. Be rude. Throw him off his game because it does throw him off his game when you're rude with him. He tries to be polite. He doesn't like it when people when he think if he thinks that you don't like him, it will throw him off his game. So that would be my advice to anybody: is make him think you don't like him. All right, so we're about 46 minutes in. But I want to see if anybody else has questions for you. Like Joe, the graphics guy, says the Satanic Temple greater than Church of Satan. Do you agree?
Wait, what did he say?
He said the Satanic Temple greater than Church of Satan.
Yes, probably, most likely, yes. The Satanic Temple is a lot more active than the Church of Satan. Like,
Yeah, I would probably
the
think so
Satanic
too.
Temple's only been around for it's been around for like 60 years, and the Church of Satan's been around for about 60 years, really. Not really, 60, like 50 years. And Satanic Temple they've done a lot more than the Church of Satan.
Yeah, I think I would agree, but I'm still personally
But I
finding out.
think the Church of Satan,
I think you're the second Satanist I've spoken to. The first one was a wolf guy. I can't remember his name, but he didn't really speak that much.
yeah.
I think he goes on. I think he might know Dragnot maybe. But yeah, you're like the only Satanist that I've spoken to, and I think that he was a different kind of Satanist than you are. I think he was more along the lines of actually believing in Satan, which is why I wanted him to talk more because anybody out there, if you're watching the stream right now and you actually are that type of Satanist, that and you would talk about it, please come and speak to me about it. Stupid Horror Energy, $10 super chat. Great supporter of the show. Have you guys heard of the West Memphis 3? I don't think I have. I'm gonna have to probably look that up when we end here. I don't
I
think I
haven't.
have. Have you?
I haven't heard of them, or I don't know what that is exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. If Stupid Horror Energy is telling me to asking if I've heard of them, maybe I should have heard of them. So I'm gonna have to look that up. Doorknob Head says COS equals conservative, TST equals liberal and more active. So Church of Satan equals conservative with a question mark. So I think that would be a question. Does the Church of Satan equal more of a conservative line of thinking, conservative Republican, and does the Satanic Temple equal more of a liberal line of activity?
I think the Church of Satan's more conservative.
And then and so the Satanic Temple would
The
be
Satanic Temple was liberal.
yeah, they're definitely liberal.
Yes.
Going over to Mr. Atheist by fine Lisa, God, can't blame you there. You should talk to Tyler Durden. Yes, yeah, Tyler has reached out to me a couple times, just in messages. But he does. I think I would be interested in talking to Tyler. He seems like a very interesting guy from the little bit I've seen on Discord. I'm gonna try. I always say this. I'm gonna try to get on Discord more. I'm going to try, and I was supposed to actually be setting up my Discord today. Never got to it. Gonna get to it tomorrow. Sassy, the Raging Atheist, you are awesome. Thank you so much, Sassy. This was an interesting conversation. Like I know I have like 1,000 more questions for you, and I'll think of them as soon as I get off air. Is there anything else that you want to tell? Just like get out there, like I'm this kind of Satanist, or this is my worldview, or I'm a Satanist and I'm a great human being. Anything like that? Like you just want to clear the air about what being a Satanist and a young man at the same time. I think it's pretty cool that you're 16 years old and already have a very complicated label about yourself.
Yeah. I think being a young person, I think it's more due to technology that I was able to find this labels. YouTube, I was watching a video and it was called like 8 things from the Satanic Bible, and I was like, That seems interesting. And there was a lot of things I agreed with the satanic type Bible, and I read it online. I was like, I kind of agree with like most of the points, and so I'm like, that's it. I'm a Satanist because I just like, and it's not like I went from atheist to Satanist. It was like, bam, combined. They're both.
Yeah.
I'm
And
there
I
isn't.
totally understand that because I'm an atheist slash humanist, and they are combined. You know, I can be one and the other. You know, and so yeah, I totally understand that, especially when it's not like a religious context. You know, it's more of a
Yeah,
political framing. Then yeah, that would definitely fit in, probably very succinctly with your atheism.
yeah. Um, so the Satanic Temple, which is what I mostly align with, they're very open about stuff. Philosophy, um, philosophically, I am aligned, and politically, I'm aligned with them. Um, Church of Satan has some intriguing ideas about life, which some of them I agree with, but some of them I strongly disagree with. Like, it kind of mentions social Darwinism, but not like racist. It's not entirely racist, but it's like the individual is very important, but like do not harm others to be the best of an individual.
Yeah, that's interesting. I need to look into it more, especially the two different. Because, like I said, I always just called them the political Satanist, and then I'd call the other ones the evil ones. You know, like something like that. Like they were just evil. But that's probably left over from my Christianity. But you know, the political Satanist I've always been able to identify with, get along with. I actually really love that they adopted Satanism. That they go about, and they put a show about it. So even though they're not Satanists, they wear the pentagrams, they wear the goth shit, and they bring their statue. I mean, it was beautiful. Like it was probably one of the best experiences of my life when I worked with those guys. So yeah, like it's interesting. Like, you know, it's not very often that I get to speak with somebody that labels themselves as such. I would have to probably imagine that Satanist as a demographic is smaller than atheist. And I often say that atheism is like one of the smallest demographics in the country, but I would have to imagine that Satanism would be a bit smaller.
Um, I think atheism is grown.
Yeah, it's
That is
definitely
a fact.
growing fast.
It's there's more atheists than yeah. It's
Yeah.
growing a lot faster, especially in America, and it's being more active.
Yeah, and especially if you involve
But like
all the
European
demographics of being
countries,
godless.
they're you know
Yeah, like if you involve agnostics and deists and you know, all the different forms of heathenship or being godless, then we are definitely one of the fastest growing demographic in the world and in the country. There's pretty much no doubt about it. Christianity, fundamental religion, is shrinking in this country and in the world. Certain places of the world, it's not mainly hardline theocracies like pretty much Muslim states. But even in Muslim
yeah
states, atheism is growing. So, I mean, it is pretty much a worldwide phenomenon. More and more people are turning away from God. And I would hope, you know, I would like to see, because I kind of consider my atheism to be politically motivated. It is, you know, we call it activism and we call it normalizing atheism. So, to me, atheism is political. And I would like to see everybody's worldviews get away from the spiritual and religious and get more into reality and politics. But that's me personally.
yeah.
I think the world would be a
So
much better place if we considered politics as seriously, at least, as we consider religion.
yeah, I like some like many fundamental Christians. They'll say like, "Oh, you guys are like a religion," and then I'm like, "We are not a religion." Like there's like once you take like no like take God out of our lives and like be left with like philosophy and like ideas about stuff. There's such a variety of stuff like abortion and many other subjects we're all very different on.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you know I get that all the time. Like people try to label all atheists as like even I used to like I used to be very naive and I just thought every atheist was like me, so they must be left leaning and humanist, and then I find out that no, a lot of atheists are douchebags. You know, like
Yeah.
a lot of atheists have really bad ideas, just like a lot of Christians do and a lot of Muslims do. So I mean that was like a learning experience for me when coming out into the community, was just learning that no, so, I mean, atheists, like everything else, are a mixed bag. We are a plethora of different ideas and different ideologies and different worldviews. And the only thing really that we have in common is that we've come to the conclusion that Yahweh's bullshit or whatever God is bullshit, you know. That's pretty much all we have in common.
Yeah.
A lot of us have a lot more in common, but I mean that's the one thing that you can generally find in common with us all, and which is what I try to appeal to here on my channel. Like, you know, I try to stay away from politics and all that shit. I just want to speak atheism, but it's impossible. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that anywhere. Eventually, you're gonna do
Yeah.
it. And so I made a political channel to try to limit it so it doesn't happen here too often. But no, this was a great conversation, Godless. Like, I really enjoy having you on. I think for a 16-year-old young man, you're about to be 17 in a couple months, but still, I mean, for a young man, you're very well put together. You can have these conversations. I love talking to you. I mean, I like talking to everybody that watches me, but especially like just getting that perspective. Like I said, I'm going to be 42 next month. It has been a long time since I was 16 years old. And when I was 16 years old, it was a much different country than it is now. So it is nice getting that perspective from a young man in today's world, and especially in today's Trump world. I would maybe next time we'll talk. We'll get more into that. I got in a little bit with Betsy DeVos, but yeah, I'm just really interested in how society is for young people now, as opposed to when I was young. Because when I was young, we were selling drugs and getting crazy. You know, I mean, I was that cusp millennial Generation X. I mean, we were rebelling like fuck against our parents. I mean, that's pretty much what all of us did. Dad said, "Don't do this," so we were doing that. You know?
Yeah.
And I have
That would
noticed
be
that,
one.
like, with the younger people in my family, that they aren't like that. And you don't appear to be like that either. You seem to have your shit together for a 16-year-old young man. So, so
Yeah.
I see that. Ann Kennedy's asking a question. Was he raised in any particular religious upbringing by his folks early on? So you did somewhat mention, I'm not sure if it was to me before we went live or after we went live, but you did somewhat mention a little bit about them, but I'll let you answer that if you want to. Were you raised in any particular religious upbringing?
I was raised Christian. It, the thing is, I don't remember much, is which shows that I wasn't that religious. My family wasn't that religious.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think that's
was
what you
not
told me before we went live.
Presbyterian, I think. Yeah, it was like I don't think it's Baptist. I don't know, but it was not. It wasn't that strong. We went like once, like a month. Like sometimes we would go like 3 times.
So you were what I
It
often refer
would be
to
quite
as
strange, but
you were raised pretty much like what I often refer to as like the normal American Christian. Like, you know, you were raised Christian, but you guys just didn't really take it too seriously. That's how I was
yeah,
raised. Like we believed in God, but every once in a while we go to church. You know.
yeah,
And I can say that's what I think the normal American Christian
nothing
is.
entirely crazy. Like go to Christmas, go East.
Yeah, yeah. We celebrate
Yeah,
the holidays. Usually involved weed and drinking, but hey, nobody's perfect. You know? Richard Madsen's in the chat. Richard, I want to talk to you again. What's up, man? Definitely want to talk to Richard again. But yeah, dude, this was awesome. Did not get an alert in my Gmail. Anyway, I'm so bad with Gmail. I'm gonna make a list, Richard Madsen. But yeah, this was just a one-on-one, really good conversation, Godless. I really enjoy you coming and talking to me, talking to my audience, kind of, you know, giving us a little perspective of Satanism and being a young man in society. Thanks a lot for coming on, dude.
thanks for having me.
And yeah, if you guys like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and you'll see more of Godless in maybe one on one again. And then, once he's 17 and he wants to come back on the open streams, always welcome. Great young man. I really appreciate it. Like, just great. Like, I feel like now I really want to go and study Satanism. Like, I need to know more. Had I known more, I could have asked better questions. So, um, I'm
Yeah.
going to definitely do that. Like, I need to know. Like I said, I worked with them a little bit politically, but I just don't know a lot. And I do want to find, like I said, if there's a Satanist in the audience watching or that's going to see this video later and you're watching and you are that dark type of Satanist that you are going out and killing shit for Satan, please come and talk to me. I'd love to talk to you. But interesting conversation, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, audience, for coming and hanging out. Always a good conversation and always a great audience, and just so stoked. Tomorrow, what am I doing tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm probably gonna have an early stream. Did I have anything? And tomorrow I'm trying to set up a private hangout with moderators because a couple of them couldn't show today. So if you can't make it tomorrow, we're probably going to go ahead and do it tomorrow. So if you can't make it and you still want to be a moderator, that's cool, but you'll pretty much have no input on the rules that we develop. So I'm thinking tomorrow at 5 o'clock we'll do that. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to have a pretty full week. 2K stream, I'm going to try to push for Wednesday. Tuesday, I'm going to be talking to the spectacular Sapien, I believe his name is. I'll have to look at that, but I'm going to be talking to somebody on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I'm going to try to have my 2K stream, and hopefully that will be a lot of my friends coming and talking with me, and it should be a lot of fun. So I am going to get out of here. It is, 10 o'clock, so I'm going to go to bed. Godless, thanks so much for coming, man. Any last words?
Um, Subscribe to me, even though I have no videos. Um, I don't know if I ever have content on my channel, but it was nice being on and talking.
Yeah, and I will send me the link in Gmail in an email, and I will put it in the description below so they can go and subscribe to you and just follow the link. I have one last question for Richard Matson, from Richard Matson for you. You did answer it, but I don't think he was here. Are you a believer that Satan is a living being, or is it an idea?
I believe that it's an idea. It's more of like a general idea of it's phrased very good in Church of Satan as he is an idea of good. He's like an idea of he just basically just an idea people came up with many years ago.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much. Not often I get to speak to a Satanist. At some point this week, we're going to have an open room unless I start working. So if I don't have an open room, that's a good thing. But I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go check on my daughter and turn my air conditioning on. Y'all have a great night. And thanks a lot for showing up.